Hey everyone, Bill Constain, Freedom Wealth TV. Welcome back for our next episode. And here is where we're going to show you what a custom wealth report looks like. Having a tax-free income for the rest of your life. How does it compare to other vehicles? So we've been doing this for 25 years as the CEO of Freedom Wealth Services. We've been servicing people around the country in all 50 states, based out of Florida, offices in California, New Jersey, and New York, and we have advisors all throughout the country. So you can get a feel for what we're doing, and then we love to see your positive comments, your thumbs up, and if you like this type of content, feel free to subscribe so you can get future content as well. If you want me to comment or talk about other financial matters, other strategies, you could also comment there as well below the video. I will have a link in the description to show you a 4-minute video that I did that leads you to a free video series, and then ultimately you can have a free consultation so you can have a custom wealth report to see how your numbers look. We got to get this retirement income strategy right because we don't want to go into our 60s, 70s, and 80s and realize we ran out of money. And that's the issue here. The number one fear for retired people is running out of money. So with that said, let's move forward. We're going to scroll down. There's your personal wealth report. This is a sample client by Bill Constain. There I am in a suit and tie. For years, I've been educating our community and Freedom Wealth Service. There's the contact information. Feel free to email me here. And we also have an opportunity to review current policies as well. And that's freedompolicyreview.com. I'll put that in the description as well. There's the team, operations, business support. We have an excellent staff, wealth designers, account management. And here's your table of contents, your personal wealth report summary. Many of you that are watching the video already have received your custom wealth report, and many of you have become clients. I want to acknowledge, congratulate you for making a great decision for you and your family. Potential risks to consider during retirement, benefits of an index universal life policy. Yes, it's an index universal life policies, and not all policies are structured properly. Matter of fact, I would say greater than 95% of the policies that I see are structured improperly. So we're going to show you how to properly structure it here. Index universal life versus various alternatives. What we do is minimum death benefit, non-MEC, modified endowment contract. The IRS calls a policy a modified endowment contract when there's not enough life insurance in there. They'll call it a straight investment, and your investment or your policy will be taxed just like a 401k or an IRA. What we're trying to do is create maximum cash flow, do it within the confines of the rules, legally and ethically, make sure you're 100% protected, have the protection that you and your family need and deserve, and create a tax-free cash flow for the rest of your life. Along the way, you're going to get living benefits like chronic critical illness benefits, heart attack, stroke. If you cannot complete 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, like being able to feed yourself, being able to dress yourself, bathe yourself, and so forth, you'll have early access to the death benefit with many of the policies that we provide as well. Terminal illness, depending on the policy, could be 12 to 24 months where you can actually access your death benefit early as well in many of the new policies. So theoretical historical performance, we're going to show you back tested and stress tested performances, assumption and historical results, historical graph, cash accumulation, and a disclaimer. All right, I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible, but we're talking about your future. And this is what I tell people. If you're going to work toward your future for 30, 35, 40 years, 25 years, doesn't it make sense to invest a half hour to get a second opinion or even a primary opinion to see how your money's going to do, if it's going to last? So here it is. Here's a 35-year-old who was smart enough to meet with me. could save $25,000 a year, and it has to save it someplace, and came to us and said, where can I save it? Right? So tax bracket, 28%. Here in Florida, we don't have a state tax bracket. Many of you around the country are going to have federal and state. So we'll just put your tax bracket in there. We're going to assume a future tax bracket. We're just keeping it the same for simplicity. Here's the big question, of course, is where do you think taxes are going to be in the future when you retire and want to take your money? Will they be around the same place they are today? Will they be lower or will they be higher? I love this country, but I have to tell you, unfortunately, the money has been mismanaged. We're over $20 trillion in debt. That's what's reported. Over 80 trillion of dollars in debt with future obligation like Medicare, Social Security. When you look at that, you say, well, am I really trusting the government in managing my money? Here is a 401k alternative. Okay, so here's an interest rate. I'm showing 7% across the board. And the thing is, with the Index Universal Life, you have a contractual guarantee from a very, very large company, and we represent over 50 companies. We're independent, always putting the client first, but contractually, you're guaranteed never to lose money. And Warren Buffett, perhaps the most successful investor of all time, says two rules for investing. One, never lose your money. And number two, do not forget about rule number one. The taxable, which would be the stock portfolio, the mutual funds, the CDs, to get 7% a year, you're going to have to be pretty aggressive. 7%. And that's without any down years. So I'm being very conservative here. We know that 2 or 3 years out of 10, you're going to see down years in the stock market. But people participate in the stock market because they want to outpace inflation. They want to get these higher rates of returns. So we're going to include 1.5%, which is way below what Forbes magazine says in a qualified account. Over 4% between administrative and mutual fund fees is what's being charged in America, over 4%. And then on the mutual fund side, that number also is over 4%. So I'm going to use 1.5%. I'm going to be real conservative and fair. Your tax exempt is your Roth IRA, but also, sponsored by the government. A hypothetical historical report showed that in a typical scenario, an IUL, or Index Universal Life, has an average return of 7.29 annually or greater. I'm going to show you what the real average is a little later, so stick around. With IUL having a floor of 0, you do not participate in the negative losses of that index. I have to stress to you, being in this business now for so long and seeing people worry about their stock portfolio, going on vacation, and those 2 or 3 years out of 10, they come. But the difference is when you want to pull money out for lifestyle, not because you want to, it's because you have to. And when that market's down, it's painful. So here, I'm going to show you, I'm going to start moving a little quicker. Key takeaways. Comfortably, after saving from age 35 to 65, this is a typical scenario, saving for 30 years, we're going to take out $84,000 a year in each situation. The IUL we're going to take out, and here's a snapshot at age 85. And again, if you're not understanding everything I'm going through, we can have a one-on-one conversation. You can reach out to me. The contact information is there. You can leave a comment here in the video if you have any questions along the way, but just be patient. I'll try to answer questions along the way. The IUL, by age 85, your death benefit with a healthy 35-year-old is $861,000. We've taken out $1,680,000 tax-free, and the total benefit so far at age 85 has been over $2.5 million. The fees have been about $153,000. We're going to disclose that, and the taxes are 0. So your cumulative fees have been $153. This is a net number, $2.5 million. The cumulative fees of $153. The key thing is age you run out of money. Never. We love never when it comes to running out of money. We never want it to run out. In this case, and again, I'm being fair because I'm not showing any down years. I'm not showing the taxes going higher. I'm not doing any of that. And I'm showing fees of less than half of what Forbes magazine is reporting for 401ks and mutual funds. Okay. So if you think I'm being fair, you can comment below, and you can comment. If you don't think I'm fair, you can say it as well. In the taxable account. Now you might say, well, you have a stock portfolio, you're not seeing those fees. Well, we can actually fix those fees up. There's still going to be some fees, but on average, 1.5%. Okay. Again, if you're in a stock portfolio and a dividends and you're saying, Bill, it's nowhere close. I can buy that. I'll change the numbers and we will customize a report along what you're considering. But of course, you'll have a lot more risk, a lot more control. If you have someone running that stock portfolio, then you're going to go into that 1.5%, 2%, unless you have millions of dollars, and then you can get someone professionally to run it, maybe below 1%. So in the taxable, you'll notice that the total income is a lot less, 846. There's no death benefit. A lot of people say, well, Bill, I don't need a death benefit. Okay, you don't need it, but would you like one? How about if it came along for the ride? Wouldn't that be nice? Tell your family that. God forbid you die early. This is income protection or mortgage protection or final expense. This is nice. And what about with long-term care being astronomical? How about having a basket of dollars that you can access for home health care? Wouldn't that be nice? So I'd much rather have this than nothing. Total benefit, 846. This is your mutual fund account. Total fees, 157. Total taxes, cumulative. The money ran out at age 76. You started taking money out at 66. That's stressful. Would you agree? If you're 75, you're on vacation, you realize your money's almost at zero. How does that make you feel? Heart attack and stroke, we're trying to avoid it. Tax deferred, 401k, IRA, SEP IRA, all of those. Total income, 1.2 million, almost 1.3 million. No death benefit along the way. Critical, especially for that 35-year-old, right? That 40-year-old, 45, kid still in the house, wife that, how is she going to pay the mortgage if the husband passes away? So it's not only nice, it's necessary, it's responsible, it's accountable. Love to see the comments on if you think having some life insurance is responsible and accountable. It's not something that's a dirty thing, especially when you structure it correctly and you have more money on the outside. If you're looking for something that's going to be a quick hit, then yeah. If you want to speculate, then life insurance is not your thing. Okay. So tax deferred. The total benefit, 1,290,000. Okay. So total fees, 326, taxes, 501, cumulative fees, 828. So when people say my IUL is expensive, 153 versus 828. And by the way, my client pays 153, but not only did they get all this income, but they get this death benefit. Are they getting their money's worth? That's the question. The tax deferred ran out of money at 81. The tax exempt ran out of money at 81. This is the Roth IRA. And let's talk about penalties and access. And what about protection from lawsuit? I get protection from lawsuit. I like that. If someone slips and falls on one of your properties or something, in these day and age, there's lawsuits. I feel safer having major money in the IUL versus having it easily accessible and vulnerable in these other vehicles. How about you? Okay, so let's move forward. Hopefully you're enjoying this. Now for our big picture, there's our graph. The purple is your Roth, the blue is your 401k IRA, and the red is your mutual fund account, and the green is your index universal life. You'll notice the blue shoots out in the front here very, very quick. It's like the tortoise and the hare. The blue is like that hare. It shoots out of the box. But you know what? This isn't a sprint race. This is a marathon. Your life is not a sprint to see how well you do in the next year or two. It's planning. You're 35, you're 45, you're 55, whatever age you are, you're planning to age 85, 90, 100 and beyond. That's the fastest growing category in America is the 100-year-old category. People that live to 90, 95, 100, they never thought they'd live that long. It's happening, especially with medical advancements. It's unfortunate to see our elderly, our people, our valued people that are in their 80s and 90s forced to go to work or do a GoFundMe because they just don't have enough money. Let's not have that happen to you and your family. Okay, so here we are, total benefit. Okay, so you'll see the green, there's the tortoise, keeps on going. I say, well, this is the Ferrari. We like the Ferrari, but the green is the freight train. It just keeps going. So where do you want to be? You want to be the red, the blue, the purple, or the green? That's to age 85. And let's move that right along. What do you want your future to look like? Financial security. When it's time for you to retire, you want to be rest assured that the wealth you've built up through the years remains secure and protected. Maintain standard of living, peace of mind. Potential risks to consider. We talk about taxes. 1776 all the way to 1913, no income taxes. 1912, 1913, there's your 1%, 6% on the high bracket, and then here's the tax roller coaster. And here we are, and I believe that we're artificially low with the Trump bill, tax bill, which many people appreciate. I appreciate it. But 2025, you'll have the tax sunset provision where taxes will go back to where they were before, which is higher. So again, this is the median line, the red line, which is close to 60%. So if you're saving money in a 401k and you've got $1 million and you're in a tax bracket, let's say you're at 25%, then let's say 750s for you and 250s for the government. But if we're closer to the median line, let's say 59%, then you get 410 and Uncle Sam and Aunt Iris get the rest, 590. They become the dominant partner in your financial life. You didn't know that when you signed up for these, right? So you have to ask yourself that question. Nobody knows for sure, but where do you think taxes will be when you take the money out to actually support your lifestyle in the future? Where will they be? The same, lower, or higher? I'm showing you the same, but if they're higher, which I anticipate, my report will look even infinitely better than what I'm showing you. Benefits of indexed universal life. An IUL policy is for the insured who would like death benefit protection as well as the ability to avoid volatility of the market while still receiving competitive returns. The indexed universal life shares the coverage and premium flexibility of other universal life policies, but the crediting of interest is very unique. Indexed interest is linked to the performance of an external index, such as the S&P 500. We have many indexes depending on which carrier we choose. And what if the index were to go down? And as I said, on a typical decade, you're going to see 3 down years a decade. How much money can you afford to lose when you retire, when you're taking money out? That's the reason why most people that are even aggressive when they're in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, once they hit the 60s, their whole attitude changes completely and they go into fixed income. I see it all the time. Why? Because they cannot afford to lose money. So their rates of return, their anticipation is much, much lower, especially when you're in an interest rate environment like we are today. Here's the thing with an index policy. When you have a structured policy that's correct, like this one, you can have those indexes, and when the market goes up, you participate. You go up. When it goes down, you don't. Zero is your hero. That's the expression. So that's your worst nightmare. You get a zero. But here's the thing. If interest rates go higher, every year we have a guaranteed fixed rate account. Right now it's about 4.5%, where you could just get 4.5%. Can you get that at the bank? Well, you can get it in most of the policies that we represent. As the interest rates go higher, right, and go back to where they've been in the past to 6%, 8%, 10%, and beyond, we're going to be doing annual meetings with our policyholders. Could you imagine if you have an interest rate opportunity to guarantee to get 10, 11, 12%? That would blow away the 7% illustration that we've shown you. That's always an option. It's always an option to put some or all of your money in a fixed guaranteed option. So there's your flexibility, built specifically for your needs, along with death benefit protection. IUL also provides 3 tax benefits: tax-free death benefit, tax-deferred accumulation, and tax-free distribution. The fourth one that's not talked about is the accelerated benefits for chronic and critical illness and terminal illness, depending on what policies you have. Again, if you have a policy and you're not sure if you have these benefits, go ahead and email me at info@freedomwealthservices.com. And you also can request a free policy review. You should have these policies reviewed, absolutely. And when I tell you the horror stories that I've seen, greater than 9 out of 10 of these policies, unfortunately, have been built for the agent to benefit and not the client. It makes me sick to see that. Either the agent didn't know how to structure it properly, or they purposely structured it to create maximum commission for themselves and not the right distribution for the client. So we may be able to fix that. We may be able to change some things. So again, that's freedompolicyreview.com. I'll put these links in the description below. Again, tax-free death benefit, tax-deferred accumulation, tax-free distribution. It's got to be structured correctly. IUL versus various alternative values and cash flows. 7% across the board. We're showing assumed marginal tax rate 28%. Yours may be higher, it may be lower. We will fix that for your policy. Again, this is just a sample case. Assumed retirement account. Yours, you might be at 28, but you might say, Bill, you know what? I don't think it's 28 in the future. Honestly, I think it's 40. I think it's 45. We can run those numbers. We can run it in different ways. In this case, very, very conservative. We're running it the same. Okay. And again, there's some of you that might say, Bill, there's no way I'm going to be in a higher bracket in the future. I'm going to repeat. There are certain tax write-offs that you're getting while you're working that you're probably not going to get in the future. One of them being mortgage deduction. You're either going to almost have your house paid off or your house be paid off completely, and that deduction will disappear. Kids out of the house, big deductions. 401k, IRA contributions while you're working, those will be finished. And if you're a business owner, a lot of those business, or all of those business deductions will disappear. Travel and all the fun stuff that you're used to writing off, good luck trying to write that off when you're in retirement. It's not going to happen. So summary, to age 95, $2,520,000. Account value still $775, and the death benefit $841 at age 95. Okay, and let's see how that fares compared to the rest. Total income $2,520,000. Okay, notice that the money has run out. I want to emphasize the money has run out in these other vehicles. So when people say, well, you know what, Bill, I don't know, I got to think. So listen, men lie, women lie, but the numbers do not lie. Look at this. Taxable, your mutual fund account. I'm being conservative. I'm not showing any down years. I'm only showing 1.5%. And then Forbes is saying that the average mutual fund is greater than 4% in fees. And we can argue that back and forth, and we can come to an understanding. I'm showing 1.5%. And then taxes. I'm not showing exorbitant back to the middle line, which is almost 60%. I'm showing 28%. We're not factoring in state income tax, depending on what state you live in. Age 76, the money's gone. Where's the income? How's that going to make you feel? How are you going to be able to take care of your lifestyle? You're going to have to downsize. You're going to have to shrink. You're going to have to be proactive. Or 81, look at this. So total income, 2.5 million versus 800 versus 1.7. Then after the tax, it's only 1.2. Guys, the biggest objection that I receive when I show this is, Bill, it is too good to be true. And why doesn't everyone do this? So what I say is, in order to make an educated decision, an informed decision, one has to be educated and informed. I want to congratulate you all for being here, because you're taking the time to be educated and informed. So there we are. I'm just going to scroll through. And there, for you guys that are super detailed, for my engineers and accountants, this is what it looks like. There's the green. There's the IUL. We're almost done. There's your red. There's your mutual fund. There's your blue, your IRA 401k. And then here's your purple, your Roth IRA. In every situation, we're saving 25,000, but I'm going to take it one step further. Here on the 401k, we're saving more because we're getting the tax deduction. You'll notice right away it's at 36,000. So we're saving more money because we're getting the tax break up front. Okay, so I am factoring in the tax benefit of the 401k and IRA. We're not saving 25 here and 36 here. We're actually saving a lot more to offset that. So that's why the number at 10 years, what's in the account? Accumulates almost 300 here, 468. But account value after tax is 337. So not people look at their statement, that's not reality. They're not factoring in their business partners, Uncle Sam and Aunt Iris. IRS, get it? Aunt Iris. It's a good joke. People like it. I usually get some laughs on that. And yes, as far as I know, I'm the one that actually invented that joke, Aunt Iris. Just joking around. I haven't heard anybody actually say it. So as you move forward, you've actually saved $500,000. You're now here at 957. Here at 1.2 million, but then after taxes, you're at 908. But the distribution, that's when the IUL just sizzles because we don't have to pay the taxes anymore. So we're taking out 84,000. You'll notice that we now in the 401k have to pay 116. We're going to have to create more income. Why? Because you got to pay that 28% tax. And if you have state income tax, it's going to be more than that. So to get to your 84, you got to take out 116. And that's why the money runs out earlier here in your mutual fund account, right? This is all audited. You could see how that works out. And then all along the way, no death benefit. And I know, people are like, well, I don't want life insurance. Listen, everyone really would want life insurance. They just don't want to pay for it. Be honest. Why wouldn't you want life insurance? If you didn't have to pay for it, how much would you want? In this case, you're paying the same amount of money. I tell people, look at the life insurance as the cherry on top. Now, to be completely, ethical and legal and doing and all my disclaimers, your primary reason for owning an index universal life is because you want life insurance. But the reality is that people want tax-free cash accumulation as much or more than the death benefit. No problem. There's an expression that says you can have your cake, but you can't eat it. I mean, if you put cake in front of me, I'm going to have to eat it. What type of expression is this? But the reality is, what's wrong with having a death benefit and making sure that your family's protected? In this case, and this is for all the Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman folks, what I would do in this case is say, well, they believe in term insurance. We'd have to create an additional expense of term to have this death benefit along the way for 20 years. And then when you're still alive, that death benefit would go away. So that would be a lost opportunity. And it would make this look even worse for the mutual fund, 401k people, and Roth people. Okay, so we can actually do that in another conversation, but I just want to finish this. The bottom line is there's a lot of zeros here, guys. What do you want in your retirement? What did you work your whole life for? You built a family to have retirement. You want stress? You want zeros? You want no money left over, no death benefit, no legacy for your family? Or do you want an income that you can rely on? Tax-free income with death benefit, with accelerated benefits that you can utilize if you have a long-term care need, you or your partner, your spouse, a legacy for your family. You choose. I'm not saying to put all your money in an index policy and life insurance, but when structured properly, shouldn't it be part of the overall strategy? Now it's up to you to get with a capable advisor, a qualified advisor. It's going to help you structure this. But somehow this should be a part of it. And if you don't have someone that is capable, someone that is qualified, that can explain this and structure it, I encourage you, reach out to me. Reach out so we can actually match you up with an advisor, or if I'm able to work with you, I'll work with you personally if that's possible. But what do you want? You want a bunch of zeros, or do you want a bunch of money when you're retired? And do you want a legacy? For those that, say, well, I don't need life insurance, I'll just whatever. Come on. What about the people that were there for you your entire life? How about giving them something? Okay, our kids are in debt from college. You have mortgage, you have income replacement. While we're here in life, we want the best for our family. Does it change if we're not here? Don't we still want those things for our family? So here we go. Here's the summary charges. I did 1.5%. Total expenses with this particular policy. If you want to learn about which policies are the best, again, you're going to message me. I'm not going to go through all that today. I will be reviewing different policies. This one, over time to age 85. And again, all the numbers I'm showing you are net, but the expenses, listen, we're mission driven, but we're not running a missionary. The companies are going to get paid. We're going to get paid. At the end of the day, at age 95, you've got a death benefit of 841. You've got income. An additional 841 was paying 153 worth having an extra 841 tax-free for your family. You paid more in expenses and taxes over here. Your money ran out, and you have no death benefit. So there you have it. Where do you want to be? And total expenses, we show it all. You could see line by line by line, and then you could see the numbers just go lower and lower because it's run efficiently. And that's another class altogether, which is the net amount of risk between the cash value and the death benefit. That's the amount of money, the difference where the life insurance company is actually charging you. So when we're running this efficiently and we have that cash value very close to the death benefit, that's efficiency. Dave Ramsey, I don't think, has ever seen this before, because if he did, I know he's extremely intelligent. So is Susie Orman. If they saw this and they understood this with this type of disclosure and how we structure it, I can't see possibly how they would dismiss it and be so against it. Because men lie, women lie, the numbers don't lie. Okay, so there you have it. And okay, often the charges are front loaded in the IUL. When you look 20, 30, 40 years in the future, these IUL charges are often minimal compared to the alternative accounts. And again, it's the net amount that we're looking for. And we're almost at the end, folks. Thanks for sticking in here. And again, if you haven't hit us with a thumbs up, we'd love to see that, and a positive comment. If you think that others may benefit from this video, go ahead and share it with friends and family. And ultimately, hey, walk your talk. If you haven't talked to us yet, and if you haven't seen your numbers, encourage you to click the link below, send us an email, and we'll be happy to do that. Let's see the historical performance. Lots of different indexes. This is one of them, the Barclays US Dynamic Balanced Index, the balance between equity and fixed income. No cap on this one, meaning that whatever it returns, you get all of it. Participation rate, in this case, 130%. So as an example, if the index was credited with 10%, they'd multiply it by the participation rate at 130, you would get 13%. If it did 5, multiplied by 130, you'd get 6.5%. And we are going to show you, and we have many different indexes. So typical scenario, 80% of the 15-year period. So we back tested in 15-year blocks of time, 7.29%. 80% of the time would have received at least this annual return, 7.29. I showed you 7. Conservative, 90% of the 15-year periods would have received at least 7.08. And the worst case scenario, 100%. That means without exception, 100% of the 15-year periods would have received at least this return. And for comparison, the S&P 500 minimum annual return for 15-year periods of time was 2.54. Maximum return on 15-year periods, audited, stress tested, 11.61, and the average return, and I showed you 7, is 8.7%. How would you like to have a tax-free program that's averaging approximately 8.7% with no market risk? Zero is your hero. The worst you can do is 0. You have a fixed guaranteed bucket that you can opt in at any time every year. Right now, it's depending on when you're watching this video, it's around 4.5%. But as you know, these interest rates go higher, and they will over time. And for those that are old enough to remember the 80s and the 90s, the interest rates were higher. 70s, people had CDs for 15%. So if we go back anywhere close to that and interest rates are 8% and 9%, and you have a fixed rate opportunity to go 8%, 9%, you can opt in on that on this policy. You're going to have flexibility. You're going to have choices. So comparison against the S&P within a 15-year period starting March 2nd, 89, your hypothetical IUL would have outperformed the S&P 88% of the time. Most mutual funds do not outperform the S&P. I have to tell you. And if they do, a year or two, they usually get crushed year 3 and 4. They try to hire the best, the mutual fund managers, and they're high flying, but after a few years, the S&P 500 usually kicks people's butts. So here's an opportunity to participate in an index with no market risk, tax-free, tax-deferred growth, tax-free distribution, have the benefit, accumulation benefits, and we win against the S&P over 88% of the time. Okay, and that's what the S&P looks like here, and this is what the index has done. And there's your historical effects of cash accumulation. The S&P versus the Barclays US Dynamic Balance. Again, this is just one of our indexes. Where would you rather be? Here, the red or the blue, right? And have zero risk. Here you have the red and you have this choppy, right? See, once you have the gain here, it'll never go lower. It'll only go up. So even if the market goes down here, notice it stayed. And then once it started to move up again, it moved up from that point. That's called locking in the gains. So with that said, my friend, this is Bill Constain, Freedom Wealth Services, and you've been watching Freedom Wealth TV. This is a long video, but an important one. We've done a lot of lessons, and I'll continue to do the education, but this is the outcome of getting a report, a custom wealth report, right? Because a confused mind does nothing. And when people say, I want to think about it, I always say, well, an educated and informed person, right, must be educated and informed. So hopefully you took this as good education and good information. Love to see those thumbs up and comments, and love to see those requests for policy reviews, and also take advantage of the free video series. I know I've said that a few times, but I know it could change your life, your financial life, you and your family. And when your financial life is right, that contributes towards having a happy family, because there's a lot of stress that goes on when the finances are not done right. And if it's not done correctly early on, it's difficult to fix when it's too late. So don't let it be too late. And if you're watching this and you're already in your 70s and 80s, God bless you for watching it. There still may be an opportunity. There's still plans for us to do if you're in your 60s, 70s, and 80s. A lot of my clients start there. We might have to do some other things. But even then, if you're not insurable, that's the other thing. You want to make sure that you're insuring your insurability. We're not guaranteed tomorrow, folks. We want to make sure that our precious loved ones are taken care of. You may be healthy today, but Father Time is undefeated. When we get older, our insurance rates do go higher. And as we get older, the possibility and the probability of not being insurable is pretty strong. So the cost of procrastination might be that you might not be able to qualify for one of these programs. And if that's you, don't worry about it. Don't regret. Speak to me. We can put something together. There's other options. Of course, maybe a spouse, the kids, the grandkids. If you didn't take full advantage of this when you could, when you could allow compound interest to work for you, don't let that happen for your family. Let's speak. Let's talk about a family legacy. You as the patriarch or the matriarch of your family. Hopefully, this talk has helped you. Okay, with that said, this is Bill Constain, Freedom Wealth. God bless you and your family, and have a wonderful day. Bye for now.